Hi, I'm Robert Kurtzman. I'm the special effects creator for Black Friday, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 255. Tonight, we're talking about Santa's Slay, starring Bill Goldberg. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Joe, we have Steve, and we're going to say hello. Hello, boys. How are we doing?
Hello. How are you?
Hello. Merry
Hi.
Christmas time, everyone, or happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. We're excited.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas month, all Christmas horror, all the time.
Yep. Next week, we got Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, right? Garbage Day. Then what else we got in the docket?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Not 100% depending on availability. I think we're looking at Christmas, Bloody Christmas, or possibly The Mean One.
It'll probably be Christmas, Bloody Christmas, because that's on
Most
Shudder.
likely.
So
Yeah.
the other one's I think theater only, and I have a feeling it's going to be limited, like Terrifier was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So we'll keep you up to date.
yeah, pretty excited though. I love Christmas movies. It's like I watch a bunch of them already. I started my Christmas movie marathon for 2022. All my watch are Christmas movies, new ones, horror ones. So it's a good time. I love it. Yeah, it's the only month I can watch Christmas movies. Like I cannot watch a Christmas movie outside of December. It's like this weird thing. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge holiday fan. Like Christmas Story is amazing, Home Alone, things like that. But like it's got to be like a genre for me, like a Die Hard or like a horror movie. Otherwise, like I'm like, ugh, I don't know. It's like all the cheer or something it's too much.
All that happiness, blah. You're
I'm
like
the
Scrooge.
Grinch.
You're Scrooge and the Grinch.
Oh my gosh,
no. One.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm psyched though that we're doing Santa's Slay. Is this the first movie we do with a pro wrestler as the star? I think so. So
I mean, Jericho was in.
Yeah, he was
Terrifier
in Terrifier 2
for 2 seconds,
but as a star. Like I think it's the first one. I like personally, I seek out pro wrestling movies because they're often really bad, and it makes me laugh. So pretty psyched to do this one.
Wait, who played Victor Crowley in Hatchet 4? I think that might have been on Three Guys, but isn't it a wrestler? No, it's freaking what's his face that plays Jason and everything.
Oh, Derek Mears?
No, I think it was Kane Hodder.
It's Kane Hodder. Yeah, Hatchet, I know he did in the first one, but I didn't know he went all the way to part 4.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
Oh well. No, so I'm excited. Santa's Slay, finally getting to do it and kick off this Christmas season.
First time watch for me.
You too, Joe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like my third time. I only discovered it maybe a few years ago because it wasn't available like anywhere for a long time. The DVD was like ridiculously priced at the time, and I'm fine. Tubi has it here in Canada. I don't think it's in the US for some reason, but it's a cheap rent, and the DVD is only like
YouTube
$15
for free
now.
Too. YouTube,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I actually watched half of it on my VR headset on big screen.
Really?
on YouTube. Yeah.
What was your background for that? Did you go in the woods? Did you go just in your regular like?
I just went into like a regular movie theater setting. Yeah. I should have did the drive-in theater setting. That would have been fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I watched part of Friday the 13th in the woods. Just
that's cool.
Yeah, I really like that. The big screen app. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. It's
get all the movie night people to get headsets, and you can do movie night in VR. That'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I got some VR news. I bought the X's video game, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit during what watched. I'll give a little mini review on it.
That was on sale during Black Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's exciting. It's such a cool thing. The VR, I fucking love it. You can even put YouTube on. Like I have a bowling game where you could put YouTube in the background, like on the screens, so you could bowl and like have your YouTube video going at the same time. It's a fantastic app. Speaking of news, Joe, you want to talk about some news this week?
Yeah, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. This week's horror news, as the year is starting to die down, of course, news kind of dies down with it until the new year comes, but we do have a few big stories this week. So let's start off with maybe the biggest news. Did you guys watch The Midnight Club by chance? Anyone?
No.
All right. Well, apparently not a lot of people did, because Netflix has announced they have canceled The Midnight Club after one season. It will not be returning for a second season, which I'm sure disappoints some people, because I heard like semi good things about it from people who did see it. And I think I will eventually jump on and watch that first season. But for fans of it, I'm sorry, it's not happening. But for you Mike Flanagan fans, don't be too sad, as he has announced he will be leaving Netflix now, as he has officially signed a new deal with a multi-year deal with Amazon Studios. So we will be getting a lot more of the quote unquote Flaniverse coming soon. We get all these verse things now. You got the multiverse and the Flaniverse and the what other verses do we have? Conjuring verse, and that's the new hot word on the streets, apparently. So we'll keep you up to date on all the new things for that. Switching to something pretty fun. Of course, we have Winnie the Pooh horror movie coming out very soon. Well, the creator of the Winnie the Pooh horror movie has announced his newest title after Winnie the Pooh, Bambi: The Reckoning. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be getting a Bambi-themed horror movie from the same team that is going to be bringing us Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which will be releasing in theaters February 15th, 2023. Also, he's announced another horror movie, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We are going to be getting a Disney Horrorverse now. Here's our new verse: Peter Pan, Neverland Nightmare. So he is going to be tackling all of these Disney themed horror movies. I don't know. I mean, this seems to be kind of the new thing. We got a Grinch horror movie coming out too. What do you guys think about this new theme of children's beloved children's classics becoming horror movies? Love it.
Love it. Make them bloody, make them weird. Blood and Honey is a cool title by itself. And I don't know about the Bambi one. That seems kind of like Carousel Hell, and I know Steve likes that. I despised it. But yeah, was it Neverland? That's pretty freaky, like the source material by itself, kids being taken and never growing up and the weird shit around that. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, if it's good.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We haven't seen his work really yet, and I hope these are good, because if they go like the Amityville route, where we just have absolute shit with that sticks the name of these characters in, I don't know how it's gonna go. But the Pooh trailer looks great, so I'm down. I'm down to see some more. Disney must be cringing now as they're losing their copyrights on a bunch of their characters. That's how old of a company they are. So I'm sure we'll see more and more of these as the years progress. So I know Mickey is up for renewal not too far from now. So let's see what happens.
Mickey's Murder House. Anybody?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Let's do it.
Well, you would think, I mean, I feel like Winnie the Pooh is going to be decent at least, right? Because like the studio had to have somewhat liked what they saw, considering they're giving it an actual theater release. Because I wouldn't feel like they would distribute it into theaters unless they felt like they had something there. So I guess we'll see. And I'm sure we're going to end up covering it when it does finally release. So stay tuned for that. Here's a quick little plot synopsis, though, for our Bambi retelling, or not exactly, but details on it. So it is going to be an incredibly dark retelling, of course, of the original story, finding inspiration from the design used in Netflix's The Ritual. Bambi will be a vicious killing machine that lurks in the wilderness. So that could be really cool.
Yeah, The Ritual is amazing, but the worst part of that movie is easily the creature design. So let's maybe not mimic it too closely. But Bambi's got to say it's Bambi, bitch, or the movie's a failure. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Blood and Honey. Maybe these both get canceled because that movie sucks. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Next bit of news here is Terror Train 2 is coming, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who watched Tubi's Terror Train remake recently, which I don't think any of us have yet, apparently was good enough for a part 2. It is going to be releasing this New Year's Eve, so stay tuned.
Okay, well, let me stop you there. Good enough for a sequel does not compete with Tubi. They don't give a fuck if it has like 10 views. They're like, oh, let's make another 7 of them.
We should make one like a la Host and get it on Tubi. That'd be so fucking fun. It's got to be better than Tickles the Clown. It has to be.
Well, I mean, it's
right? That's on there.
Not a lot of competition. So.
I know.
Yeah,
and Rectuma.
Rectuma was decent.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
never mind. I was thinking of that Kuso.
Oh
Anyway.
fuck no. No, Rectuma didn't take itself seriously.
All right. And final bit of news tonight is A24 has announced it's actually officially out now, a Hereditary themed gingerbread house. You can get it, ladies and gentlemen, right in time for the Christmas season for you Hereditary fans. Of course, it looks like the infamous treehouse from the end of the movie. It comes with a full setup. You get the actual cast iron pans and everything to make Charlie's treehouse for the low price of $62. A little pricey, but the cast iron pans you do get. So, I can understand, I guess, the price because of that. So for you big time Hereditary and horror fans, make your Christmas a little special. Build yourself Charlie's Treehouse with Payman, of course, hanging out in there. So enjoy. And that's it for horror news this week.
Awesome. Before we get into what watched, let's go to our sponsor who had a really crazy weekend. They had Lynn Griffin from Black Christmas doing a signing at their store. So I really hope that I know they're starting to build new stores. So hopefully they'll start like taking over Starbucks and Tim Hortons and stuff, because there's nothing better than a horror themed coffee shop. And of course, I'm talking about Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
All right, what watched? I'll go first because I have absolutely nothing. No books, no movies, no video games. It's been busy and it sucks, but maybe I'll get around there. It's always busy around this time of the year though, so we'll get back at it. What about you guys?
Well, in honor of the Black Friday sale, I bought Exorcist the video game on VR, and I finally got to try it out this weekend. Yeah, it's pretty short. It's only 5 chapters, and each chapter, I would say, you get around 7 to 10 minutes of gameplay. So it's nothing overly long. Graphically, I was a little disappointed with it for VR. It's an older game though. I know that. It's probably a few years old at this point. So I guess I shouldn't have been expecting too much out of it. But I will say it's interesting. So it's kind of based off of part 3, sort of, off of the Legion. So you're a Boston homicide detective and a priest is murdered and you have to investigate that, and you go down a sort of rabbit hole of stuff from there. There is some genuinely scary moments in this for sure. Like I was definitely scared a couple times playing it. There's some great jump scares in there. The first chapter especially is great because you are inside of a church and the priest is murdered and there's Virgin Mary statues and stuff like that. And the great thing about VR is the immersion, because you'll hear demon voices like whispering in your ear and stuff like that. So there's some pretty cool stuff, and you carry around a exorcism kit, so you throw holy water at things. You hold up a crucifix at times and stuff like that. And yeah, so I mean it's pretty fun. It's definitely not the best, but if you are, an Exorcist fan, I think you'll dig it. And I got it on sale for, I think it was like $11.99. It's worth that price. I wouldn't say it's worth full price though. So if you can get it on sale, I'd give it a shot.
Yes, I still haven't played my copy. I've had it for like 3 years at this point.
The real question, Joe, were the graphics better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that we went into in, I forget what app it was.
Oh God, yeah, 100%, yeah, yeah. The shitty Zuckerberg's
right metaverse,
Facebook or metaverse there. Yeah, that thing's terrible. Someone recommended me VR Chat, which is very similar to, that's like another sort of quote unquote metaverse thing, and it's so much better. So I would recommend that if people want to explore worlds that people make. There's some pretty cool stuff in there.
We should play Drunken Bar Fight.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it, look it up. Like he's literally
I
just going there
have.
and fight. Yeah.
It was on sale, but people were like, it gets kind of repetitive. So I was like, I guess I'll pass. I got Thrill of the Fight's really good though for you, anyone that likes to box, and it's a fucking workout, man.
Thrill of the
Like,
Fight is really good.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that game. And then ping pong's good in there too. If you ever having a want to feel that, like you play yourself and it's like a cool little apartment and all that stuff. VR is awesome, man. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first one this week is a screener we got. It's for a movie that's releasing the day that this episode drops, and that's called The Leech, which will be on VOD. So in this movie, you have a priest, and he's shutting down the church. You know, it's the week before Christmas, and there's this guy, like homeless guy, who's sleeping in one of the pews, but the priest has to kick him out because he has to close the church down. So he's like, "Can you please get out of my church?" It's like, sure. So he comes out of it, and then he sees the homeless guy like sleeping on the steps outside in the cold, and he kind of goes up to him and he's like, you know, can I help you with something? It's like, yeah, I just need to get a ride to like my girlfriend's house. He's like, she's like 5 minutes away. So he's like, you know what? I'll give you a ride. It's really not a problem. And he's like, oh, great. Well, it's actually 30 minutes away, but you know, it's close enough. He's like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So he goes there. Girlfriend's not there. And he's like, it's okay. I'll just go sleep like in a park or something. He's like, no. You could stay over one night at my house until the whole thing with your girlfriend settles. And then the guy essentially just never leaves. Eventually he invites his girlfriend over, and because he's a priest, he feels like obligated to bring her in as well, because he knows that she's pregnant because she went to confession, but he's not allowed to tell the guy that. He just knows that she's pregnant, and so he also lets her in. And then they start basically leeching off him, which is why it's called The Leech. And it's about the priest kind of going into this dark depression because he doesn't know how to handle them. They're really bad house guests. They play the music super loud. At one point, he catches the guy jacking off at the window, and just a bunch of weird stuff. And then they get him like drunk and stuff. And anyway, it's a whole fucking crazy story as the priest starts getting really, really fucked up in the head. And then stuff happens. I think this is quite an experience of a movie. It's all takes place basically within the house, or at least mostly, and it just shows how these people are really grating on the priest. But because he's a priest, he feels the obligation that he has to keep them, and that's like his thing. But at the same time, he also has a deal with them that he'll only keep them if they basically convert to his religion. So, you know, there's like kind of moral stuff that they talked about, like abortion and you know, drugs and sex and taking care of a baby before marriage, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of like religious debates having between the couple and the priest, and then it gets pretty dark by the end of it. You know, things go really wrong, and it gets pretty crazy. My problem with the movie is that it does drag a little bit at times because it is all pretty much one location. It's all in the house. And I didn't like any of the characters. You know, you don't know who to root for. The priest is kind of an asshole. The couple kind of assholes. So you're like, who am I supposed to root for if everyone's insufferable? Their point of views are just not in line with me at all. So that was maybe another problem with it. But it's a decent movie. Something I'd say like check out if you see it like on a streaming service. And you know, maybe good for a one-time watch. Nothing more than that. So that's The Leech, which comes out on VOD on Friday.
Alrighty. Well, my last one tonight is a 2022 release that just released recently over on Shudder, and that is called A Wounded Fawn. First of all, this one caught my attention right away because I felt like the title was super interesting, so I was already on board with that. This one is about a young woman who meets a gentleman at I think they both work for a museum, or so she thinks that they both work for the museums, and they go on a trip out into the woods for the weekend at his cabin. And surprise, surprise, this man is a serial killer. And, you know, I'll leave it at that because, you know, probably the less you know, maybe the better on this one. Yeah, this one's really interesting. Man, it's a weird movie. I will say that. I was ready to absolutely love this movie. It started so well. The tension is amazing. It's shot on actual 16 millimeter film, so it looks really beautiful. And it has like this really 70s looking vibe to it, aesthetic. And I was like all completely on board with this. And hour is amazing. And I was like, shit. I was like, this is going to be top 10 easily. And then the last half hour happens and we go down this, really bizarre rabbit hole of pretentiousness, I guess would be the right word. It turns into a complete student art film type thing. It gets really fucking bizarre, steeped in a lot of Greek mythology and metaphors, and I just couldn't stay on the ride for that last half hour. Now, I still think it was like a decent enough movie, and I wasn't upset that I watched it. I was just sort of frustrated because I was like, man, it was heading in such a good direction, and it just kind of goes off the rails. I would still recommend it though to certain people, especially people that are into like our really weird art house style horror movies like that. But other people, I feel like, are gonna be really let down and frustrated with the end of it.
Will I like it?
No.
I doubt it.
We'll pass that.
I also watched it today, and I agree with everything Joe said. It was so good for that first like act, because they put in 2 acts for some reason, like chapter 1, chapter 2. Chapter 1, fucking amazing. Chapter 2, what the fuck is going on? It was just weird imagery and colors, and I don't even know how to describe it. It was pretentiousness, essentially. I don't know. The first half was great, but I don't think the second half justifies watching it for most people. I think maybe some people will like it. It's a very niche market for this movie. But it's a shame.
Yeah. The director did a movie you watched. Actually, I think you watched might be both of his movies, Steve. I know I think all 3 of us watched Girl on the Third Floor, which was on Netflix a few years
CM
ago.
Punk, another wrestler.
CM Punk, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then
And
he
Jacob's
also,
wife.
and Jacob's wife, yeah, which I
was
didn't see.
Probably my favorite of the 3, if I had to pick one.
Favorite of the 3. Okay.
Yeah, that one stars Barbara Crampton. And CM Punk is also now. So it's
I will say this movie was fantastically acted. I felt like everybody was really good, especially the lead actor. I thought he was really, really good, really strong in this. And we had a Malin Barr, who we interviewed recently on the show for Honeydew. She is a pretty big role in this movie as well. So that was a cool to see a familiar face. But it's weird, man, because like I did give it 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is decently high, and I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 because for uniqueness alone, like, it is different and unique, and it's not something that you see a lot. So, I give it props for that. But yeah, I mean, it was on its way to like a 9 out of 10. So it's definitely frustrating.
That's too bad, man. That sounds like kind of like a high tension. Oh, it's fucking amazing, and then the twist happens. But with this one, it's a little bit. I'm curious though, because I really want to see how they can shit the bed, and then pretentious can go a bunch of different ways too. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, the first half is like a supernatural fresh.
Fresh, yeah,
Okay.
very like
I
fresh.
love fresh.
Yeah, yeah. It like Joe said, this was going in the direction of a top 10, and then chapter 2 hits and just complete fucking thump from there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you studied Greek mythology like in college or high school or something, I mean, you might like this a lot. I didn't, so like I think a lot of it was lost on me. But if you're like a fucking massive like fan of stuff like that, I mean, you might love it.
Maybe. All right, my last one this week is another Christmas film. This one I watched over on Tubi. It's a 2022 release, and it's called The Killing Tree. Super fucking basic plot on this one. Think Chucky, in the fact that a serial killer is killed, and then instead of being put into a doll, he's put into a Christmas tree. And the rest of the movie is the Christmas tree going on a killing rampage and murdering everyone in its path in a bunch of really cool and unique ways. He uses the branches, he hangs people with the garland on the tree, he throws the Christmas balls at them, just all sorts of fucking goofiness. It's one of those movies that you either go in knowing what you're getting into, or you fucking gonna hate it. It's like Killer Sofa, but with a Christmas tree, or any of the movies where an inanimate object is killing some people. It's very low budget, but it does have okay CGI and stuff like that. There's a little bit of effort put into it. The characters are actually pretty good, so it's not like they're insufferable, and the human characters you hate and you just want it waiting for the tree. I think they're actually pretty good. My biggest complaint is I wish it was a bit gorier. it seems like they were going for like a low R or a PG-13, even though the kills are really cool. I wish they went just more gore with it, but the kills are unique enough that it was entertaining. And when the tree comes into play, I always had fun. It's just one of those movies like that. So that's The Killing Tree 2022 over on Tubi.
Now, was the tree a man in a suit, or is it a tree that they went underneath the camera and started walking with them? And what are you talking about?
For most of it, it was a man in a suit because you could see his feet.
That's awesome.
But it's actually super well done, and sometimes it's CGI. So when a tree gets really big, or he like stretches out his limbs like really far and stuff, and you see it from far, it's kind of CGI. Sometimes it might even be stop animation. Is kind of tough to tell because it was a little blurry. But yeah, I think if you're going into just having fun, a nice Christmas killer movie, Killing Tree is one of the better ones. I watched a few, and it's the only one I'm going to talk about because the rest were absolute shit. I watched Nutcracker Massacre. I watched Amityville Christmas Party. Terrible, all of it. Amityville Christmas Vacation and Nutcracker Massacre. Those were terrible, but Killing Tree, I enjoyed it.
Yeesh. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, trivia as follows: the final quarter of the year, quarter 4. I am in the lead with 11. Joe behind me with 8. Steve behind him with 7. So it is a tight race for the end of the year here. Overall, though, first place was 64. Joe behind me with 56. Steve behind him with 49. It's doable. It's still doable, man. Let's get together. Let's shake the brain fog of being sick for 2 months. You all ready for those questions? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first,
All right.
since I picked the movie tonight. So all of my questions this week are pro wrestling horror movie related. So
All right, let's do it.
If you know your horror pro wrestling trivia.
I'm a little weak on there, Steve. I'm a little weak. Admittedly.
All right, first one. Who directed See No
God.
Evil 2 starring Clem Jacobs, aka Kane?
Kane.
Wrong.
Okay, wait. I believe it was the Soska sisters.
That is correct.
Was
The
it really?
The Soska
Wow.
sisters. They only did the sequel, not the original.
Interesting.
I remember enjoying the first one. Never saw the second one though.
I don't think I've seen any of them like in their entirety.
All right. In
All right.
Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
Oh, we ready?
Yes.
In Ghostbusters, what instrument does Dana Barrett play in the orchestra?
Clarinet.
Incorrect.
She plays the cello.
Correct.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, baby.
He's on
Suck it.
fire, baby.
All right. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what is the name on the side of the truck that runs into the hitchhiker? at
Black
the end of the
Maria.
movie? That is correct.
Yeah, boy. Can't wait for that game, man. Honestly, even though it's probably
Yeah.
gonna suck like all the other ones that are the same formula, but I'm still pumped.
Okay, so other than Terrifier 2, and there's 2 possible answers, I only need one of them. Which movie does wrestler Chris Jericho appear in? Horror movie.
Shoot.
Hmm.
I want to say I should know this.
I met Chris Jericho at a HorrorCon, actually.
He's a huge fan.
Did you get
Yeah.
a signature? Or you just say hello.
I got a signature, but it was for a friend. But I met him. I was wearing my a Dead Alive shirt, and he was
Nice.
like, so we talked about that.
Hey, bro. I don't know if that's how he talks.
He had a pretty long line.
I bet those wrestlers like make a killing, dude.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, not Damien Maffei, or
Yeah,
not,
not Terrifier 2.
no clue.
You want to venture a guess, Joe?
Can I phone a friend?
I'll give you guys a hint.
Okay.
It's one of the sequels of a very popular TV movie series.
TV movie series.
Very popular. And
popular.
it's one of the sequels.
Shoot. Halloween Town 2.
Wrong. Joe?
I got nothing.
Hold on, man. This is pissing me off. Joe, let's work together on this one.
Okay.
How many TV series movies do you know that are really popular?
I
that have a lot
don't
of
know any of
sequels?
them.
I can't think of any. Yeah, it's weird. I'm drawing a blank on
Popular,
that.
but they're movies.
They're
Made for
movies.
Oh, Sharknado?
Yeah, which one?
Oh.
2.
No.
2 through 5.
Dude, right.
How many are there?
like
There's
I think there's
no, there's like
five or
7 of them. There's a
It's,
lot.
Seven?
it's a
Wow.
badge of honor that I will never watch one of those movies.
I have the series on. I
my
try.
gosh.
I watched like 2, and then I'm like, I'm out. So you know it's bad when.
Yeah, you can't watch it then. Oh my god.
So
All right.
the answer was Sharknado 3.
I should have known. Should have known.
Alright. And then the other answer was Albino Farm.
Oh,
But I didn't expect you guys to know that one.
oh my god. Albino Farm. I don't even know. I don't know what that's about. All right. Let's see here. Oh, these are all mine from Kayla tonight. So thank you again,
Oh.
Kayla.
Cool.
What year was the remake of Prom Night released?
2011.
2011 is on the board. Incorrect though.
It's pretty long ago. I feel like. I'm gonna say 2006.
Both of you are incorrect. One more guess each.
Are we close? Are we even in the ballpark?
I mean, you're in the 2000s, yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
Let's say it's from 2001 to 2015 within there.
All right.
I think Sam's a big fan of this one. I think.
Let's go 2008.
That is correct. 2008.
Nice. Awesome.
Don't think I've ever seen that one. Remake at least.
Right. I'm not sure. I had them all on the list for a while, and I was watching them. I don't know if I got to the remake though.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the
There's what, like 4
first
of them?
one. I think that's the ballpark. Isn't number 2 like Mary Lou or something?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Alright.
According to Tiffany in
Tiffany.
Bride of Chucky,
Ooh.
what is
Boing.
Chucky's favorite food?
Christ.
Hamburgers.
And she makes it for him
Oh.
at one point in the
Ooh.
movie.
Shit.
What'd you say?
Chucky.
Said hamburgers.
Hamburgers, incorrect.
Incorrect. Is it a main dish or are we talking sides here?
I would call it a side dish.
Side dish. Okay, let Steve take a
So,
guess. and I'll
sort of,
fire-
but it could
I'll
also
fire back.
it could also be considered a main dish. as
Okay,
well.
so that's
Is it,
not
gonna,
helpful.
is it
at
something
all.
like chili?
No,
Ooh,
incorrect.
Okay, is it
But
macaroni
it can
and
be
cheese?
it can be cooked in a pot.
Macaroni
It
and
is
cheese.
incorrect.
Stew?
Damn it. Well,
Incorrect.
That's like the same thing. All right. So it's not
I'll give
chili.
you guys,
it's
I'll
not
give you guys
stew,
one more guess
not
each.
mac and cheese, and it's in a pot. Mashed potatoes.
Incorrect.
Son of a bitch, Chucky.
And we're gonna go with soup.
Incorrect. The
Fuck.
correct answer is Swedish meatballs.
Swedish. Oh,
Yeah.
I would have
okay.
took meat. I would have took meatballs as well.
Well, I mean, it said hamburger, so I mean,
That's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
the meat family.
I don't remember that at all.
No.
Yeah, it's right
Does he
when
eat?
it's right when she resummons him. She's like holding him like a baby, and she's like, "Look, Chucky, I made you Swedish meatballs, your favorite."
All right. Name the only horror movie that features Triple H.
Oh,
God.
Jesus! Yay!
Fucking motherfucker.
Nothing. I doubt I've seen it. Have we seen it?
Uh,
Do you think me and Todd? have seen
I would think Todd. I would say almost for sure. You, Joe,
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
it? Okay. So
Um,
I'm gonna guess it's a zombie movie then, maybe.
No.
No,
is it Laid to Rest?
I've seen
I
that
like
one.
I like the first one. Second one's poopy.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's go with Sharknado 4.
No. Okay, I'll give you guys one hint. It's
Okay.
part 3 of a
Okay.
series that's coming back to theaters, being rebooted in the next 2 years.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Back to theaters, part 3.
So yeah, it's part 3 of the original series, and the whole series is being rebooted in the next 2 years,
Interesting.
and there is a lot of hype for it.
Oh.
Really?
Mhm.
What genre are we looking at?
Horror.
I mean, what subgenre of horror? you pick?
Subgenre.
I can't say it's.
Yeah, you can.
It'd be too easy.
Will it though? Because we suck.
It would be.
Man, what's getting back out in the theaters? Paranormal Activity 3?
Okay, I'll tell
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I will give you a.
That's a good guess.
It's
That's
not.
a good guess.
It's a vampire series.
Oh.
Underworld
Wrong.
3?
Blade.
Joe, you want? That's right. It's Blade 3.
Oh, he isn't Blade
Yeah.
3. He's a henchman, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the henchmen.
Dang it. The worst fucking one.
Yeah.
It's so oh my god, that movie
Yeah.
sucks.
He
I
wears
just
like
read
a
that
ugly blue jumpsuit.
Jeez.
I read that the director just left or something.
No, they just got a
for
new one.
the Blade.
Did they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's never a good sign though.
All
no,
right.
it's being rewritten and everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
but actually, well, the original director left it too, and then
Right?
it turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
original Pennywise too, right?
The original Pennywise, yeah, it was supposed to
Yeah,
be that
Will
kid.
Poulter.
Yeah,
He
it's
would have
supposed
been
to
good.
from Where the Millers.
Right.
You guys getting
Who's
paid?
like
then-
super jacked now. He's in Guardians of the
The,
Galaxy.
the original director was supposed to be the guy who did True Detective season 1,
Right.
which
The best
really
one.
good.
The
Yeah.
only good.
Amazing.
hmm
All right. In Audition from 1999,
Ooh,
Boy.
Asami states that a hip injury ended her career as what? So what was she?
A
That
tattoo artist?
tattoo artist,
ballerina.
ballerina? I will accept. The answer is dancer.
I don't know what the fuck I was
I
thinking.
know. I was like, what the fuck kind of tattoo artist is that?
It ended my tattoo career when I got a hip injury.
Back
Really?
injury, maybe.
Yeah.
Wrist maybe, but hip. I think you're fine.
I don't know what kind of fucking tattoo artist I
You are,
am.
you are sitting for a long time, so maybe
Yeah.
that would affect you.
Yeah.
All right, we ready for the last one of the night?
Yep.
All right. In the exorcism of Emily Rose,
Ooh.
what are the charges against Father Moore?
Kidnapping.
I'm gonna go. It's more than one charge. I know in real life it was attempted murder and also negligence because they weren't feeding her.
Yeah, that's so. This is one of Kayla's questions, and she has negligent homicide. So
Yeah.
that's
Ooh, okay.
Right. Negligence, so
and
we'll
attempted
accept
murder. So yeah,
Yeah.
1, 4, 2.
yeah, that's at least the real story behind it.
Mm.
I haven't seen Emily Rose in a long. I just got the Blu-ray like recently. It's one I want to revisit. So
It's a good one.
yeah, it's good and also kind of long because there's a lot of trial stuff.
Yeah, the
Oh.
courtroom drama stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but when the exorcism stuff happens, it's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jennifer Carpenter, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Does that conclude tonight?
Indeed.
Ooh, Joe with the big numbers tonight. 4, Steve
Woo!
2, myself 1. Oh my word. That's a two-way tie for 12 points apiece between Joe and I. Steve right there in 9. It's any man's game still. Overall, myself, oh, you're closing the freaking gap, dude. Myself 65,
Yeah.
Joe 60, Steve 51. I'm gonna have to fucking dig deep.
It's only like 3 weeks left, right?
3 weeks left.
I'm gonna have to close out with I'm gonna have to ice the kicker on this one. All right, Santa Sleigh,
Yes.
2005. Looks like a 1998 one. So yeah, there's not a lot of story to this one, honestly. The opening starts off with like a star-studded cast, right? We got James Caan, we got Corky Romano, we got Fran Drescher in there. They're all at Christmas dinner. They're bickering. They're openly like cheating on each other in front of one another. Like we got people putting hands on thighs. We got people saying you're ungrateful, blah blah blah. Bill Goldberg jumps in. Killer Santa lights Fran Drescher's fucking face on fire. He starts. He nails James Caan, man, he's a freaking legendary actor. But I think we talked about it earlier. A paycheck movie, right? Definitely. I mean, he just murders the star-studded cast in the beginning. So very strong opening. Then we were introduced to a young man. He's about, I don't know, maybe 18 or so in that little
16.
age. 16. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a young man, age 16. Thank you, Joe. And he's working at a deli. It's Christmas Eve. He doesn't really like Christmas though, and we'll figure out why. Fast forward and we go to his grandpa's house, who's like the town weirdo where he's making weird inventions. He doesn't trust people on Christmas and all that shit. He doesn't trust the holiday. Meanwhile, Goldberg just randomly has these random scenes where he's just going around hunting anybody down. He has a big, I don't even know what the animal is. It's like a reindeer on crack or something.
Looks like a buffalo.
Look, a buffalo. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
the buffalo. Yeah, it's crazy. But he has like literal random scenes where there's no plot. It'll just cut to him wrecking havoc. He goes into a strip club, which is a freaking amazing strip club because all the girls have weird ass names like Tess Tickler, who's my personal favorite. You have the town like father, the pastor or whatever. He's like preaching, and then he goes to the strip club and he starts doing that thing. So I'll just leave it at that, man. It's honestly following this kid around as he's trying to navigate his romantic relationship with this girl that he clearly is kind of into, but not at the same time. And she's making all the moves, and you have Crazy Grandpa, where he's like the crazy dude and he has like a bunker in his house and he's making these wacky inventions just like Gremlins guy. And then Goldberg just going around and killing whatever and whoever he sees. And that's the plot once we get to spoiler territory. First time watch for me, and this one really felt like a late night. This felt like this time period, right? It was like terrible score. It had a freaking wrestler Goldberg in it, which he's amazing in it. But overall, I enjoyed it. Not something that I would watch again for a while because there was quite a bit of issues with it. But overall, it was a solid first time watch for me.
Yeah, first time watch for me as well. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew it was going to be goofy for sure, and I just hoped it was going to be an enjoyable ride, like I had hoped Sharks of the Corn was going to be earlier this year, which was not an enjoyable ride. But this one was, thankfully, an enjoyable ride. You know, the movie is so stupid, but it just in all the right ways. Like, you know, it's exactly what you want out of a movie like this when you know, hear about Santa basically going on a killing rampage. You know, it's along the lines of a Jack Frost style type movie. So if you're into something like that, then I think you'll definitely be on board for this movie. Every time Goldberg is on screen, it's A+ stuff. It's when he's not on screen is where the issues lie, definitely with this movie. But I mean, the intro is just so great in this movie. I love it, and I know we're gonna probably get more into it later. But yeah, initial reaction, I had a blast with it.
Yeah, so obviously I picked it. So I did have fondness for it before we watched it. It's probably my third watch, I'd say. I discovered it maybe like only 6 years ago. So, and it's just something that stuck with me. It's not something I watch every year, but every once in a while I like to revisit it because it is goofy. It's like goofy fun. There's not you can't take it too seriously. Like Joe said, I mean, when Goldberg is on screen, it's so much fucking fun. Just the one-liners and the kills and the goofy, just stupid goofiness. Like he goes to the strip club and he murders all the bouncers, and then he goes after the patrons, and then he's about to use the stripper pole as a weapon, but he knows better, so he cleans the stripper pole first because he knows it's dirty, and then uses it as a weapon, and then even just kills all the strippers, by fire. Just absolutely nonsense. His buffalo like ate the doorman that you find out. It's just like little scenes like that. Although it is really weirdly structured, like you said, Joe. It's going to be like the main story, which they're kind of it's just these two kids, a grandpa, that are kind of explaining the lore behind Santa, and then it just cuts out of nowhere to Goldberg fucking shit up, and it goes back to them talking about the lore of Santa, then back to Goldberg just fucking shit up, and it's just like constant back and forth until the two stories converge and Goldberg starts attacking them. I did like the relationship between the young guy and the young girl. I think Emily DeRavin is fucking hot as hell. Just putting it out there. Most people would know her from Lost and the Hills Have Eyes remake. Great actress. And yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be into her. It's just crazy. She even goes out of her way to buy him Transformer, in the shape of a gun, because that's what he had apparently wanted this whole time. But when it was actually an easy bake oven. Actually, maybe he's gay. Now that I think of it, that was
I was actually getting those vibes a little bit because he like had zero game and like zero awareness of her
or interest. Yeah, it's like
and she's smoking hot and it's like the only girl in town basically
right
in this movie. So
yeah, so that could something they could have touched on, but didn't really. So I don't really know. They never confirmed that or anything.
Actually, hold on, Steve. That's a good theory because at the end
he says you kiss like a guy.
Yeah, she's like, you hit like a girl. Well, you kiss like a guy.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Right. Yeah, and I also like, so Goldberg, obviously Jewish, very, very much Jewish if you listen to his interviews. And I love how they reference that he's a Jewish Santa like a bunch of times. He goes to the deli and you see Hasidic Jews and stuff like that. And they even put them in
the Amish people.
They say they're Amish, even though there is obviously Hasidic Jews. Yeah, I just like the little nods to that. I love that he like spears someone through a fucking display case, just little moments like that. And that's what kind of the movie is all about, is just him having crazy kills and fucking shit up while the others try to essentially run away from him for most of the movie until curling comes into play. That's a whole other weird thing in this movie.
Before it's time, man.
Right?
Go ahead, Joe.
I thought that's why Steve loves this movie so much. It's got the national, sport of Canada in it. So
yeah, so like so I was a little bit confused. So Santa was good and then evil?
He was forced to be good because he's the son of Satan.
That's right.
And he was forced to be good for 1,000 years, and 1,000 years like contract elapsed.
Why are people
so.
always doing this shit? Like for 1,000, just say fucking a million trillion years. Like I hate when like 1,000 years are up and now like the demon's back and it's so dumb though. Like the angel being his grandpa. I fucking hated that. I don't know.
That was
That
super
ending
dumb.
was just terrible.
It was really dumb. Say a few notes I took. Okay, so we gotta talk about that opening scene. Like I said, how the fuck did they get all that star power in the opening scene? Someone owed some money. You know, like they did the Real World, and you know there's some money owed somewhere. So like, okay, you got to be in this movie and get killed in the first like 3 minutes. I mean, I guess the other one was all the other ones weren't as surprising. I don't think Fran Drescher, Chris Kattan, and there was someone else in there. I don't remember her name.
Rebecca Gayheart.
Rebecca Gayheart. I don't think they've been doing a lot of movies since in 2005. But James Caan was like, wow, they even got James Caan in this. That's impressive, and he fucks them up. Like he fucks them all up, like really, really. And that's a great way to start a movie. That's how you want to start an indie movie. Just get some crazy kills and establish just how much of a badass Goldberg Santa is.
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe like James Caan was like friends with somebody, like a producer or something, and he just did it as like a favor or something like that. Because I mean, the dude's like a legend, and to see him in a movie like this was definitely like jarring, especially because first time watch, so I put it on, I'm like, what the fuck, James Caan is in this movie, and I mean, he's dead within 5 minutes, and it's just like, what a table. You fucking Fran Drescher, Chris Kattan. It's like the most random ass fucking stuff ever, but it just makes, honestly, like, it's the highlight of the movie, I think, for sure. I mean, just seeing all these A and B and I guess C list actors all being murdered by Goldberg at the beginning. It's just awesome, and it sets the tone for the entire movie. And most of the kills were mostly great in this movie, and the humor for mostly hits. I mean, there's some really, really, really elementary
low-hanging fruit.
Elementary level too. Yeah, like Captain Cock is the name of the police officer in there.
Bush,
so
but I prefer Cock.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah, there's stuff like that too, where just kind of you roll your eye and you're like, okay, but there's some decent laughs in here too. There's some great one-liners.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of subtle comedy too. Like in the opening scene, James Caan gets his hands pinned, and when you look at him briefly, he's trying to he has his mouth around the knife trying to pull it out. And then in the background of the police station, you see a cop. He has a metal detector on a Christmas stocking. I thought that was freaking randomly funny. The preacher, he gets mad. The collection plate is going around, and he's like, "There's too many coins. You got to give the needy need bills." I thought that was pretty funny. The kids that opening the present, they're little assholes, and their heads blow up. That was pretty cool. So there's like a lot of like random little shit in here. It kind of felt like a South Park movie, honestly, especially at the end where you had the dude talking with the voice box thing. Like Ned from South Park, before Grandpa or whoever it was comes out with a freaking rocket launcher.
Yeah, he's also promoting cigarettes. Like all his clothes are promotions for a cigarette
company.
Yeah,
it's I think it's Llama cigarettes. It's supposed to be like Joe
right?
Camel, yeah. And he's like, yeah, the rocket launcher. It only cost me my lung or whatever like that.
There's also like let alone like all the random stuff for Goldberg, which a lot of it just comes out of nowhere. We got Tom Lister, aka Debo from Friday, that's in there just to say that we had Debo. Like, it doesn't, he goes in there, "Do you have any gum?" And then he's like, "Here's a nicotine gum. Why are you here?" "Because there's too much violence in the hood." And then he just leaves, and that's the last time we ever see him again. I thought they'd be like, "Oh, Debo, he's a big guy, whatever, he'll fight Goldberg at one point." No, that was it. He was in there for another like a 3-minute scene. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's actually like a really good point, because there's not like there should have been like an imposing force to fight against Santa at one point. Like that would have been great. Like even if like an angel came down and it was played by someone like ridiculous, like Hulk Hogan or something like that, or Debo, yeah, and like we got like a good fight. But man, that's what really kills this movie, like for being even better, is the ending is so fucking like lackluster, and it just ends like he can just get like his sleigh gets like blown up by the rocket, and there's no like third act where like there's like a big fight scene or anything like that. Like just like it just kind of happens and ends, and it's just kind of like, oh, like, I wanted more out of it. I mean, maybe they probably ran out of budget, I'm assuming, so they really couldn't afford anything else. But I just wanted something more out of that third act.
Yeah,
Yeah, it needed closure, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the whole movie leads up is you're waiting for these characters to merge, right? Because it's always Goldberg doing his thing and then the kids doing their thing. But when it merges, that's when the movie kind of falls. So that's not what you want. You want that to be kind of the peak of the movie is when they merge and it gets really crazy. But you're right, it was so stupid with everything with the grandfather and the curling and the Zamboni. Like I wish they'd used the Zamboni better, should have mowed some more people down or something. Yeah, there was a lot kind of left on the table there.
Yeah, I mentioned it in my opening, but I hated the soundtrack for this one. It was the weakest part easily. It was like generic, like top 10 rock and roll. Yeah, Christmas music. I just
it's so
could not
loud.
stand it. Yes.
Like they play it so loud it like drowns out the scene when the music comes on. It's crazy. Did Grandma, I forget, did the opening character in the deli that was complaining about senior discount, did she get killed by Santa? Yeah, he follows her car.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. That's right. He's like, get away, bitch.
Move, bitch, get out the way.
Yeah.
And then her fucking car just
That's right.
goes flying off an embankment.
I love too when he goes in the strip club and he goes ho ho ho, and a topless woman's walking by. It's just like so much stupid shit like that in this movie.
Oh yeah, the one-liners are. I forget what else some of the other ones, but he says some pretty, like I said, Steve said, low-hanging fruit. I think there's one where I think there's like a Christmas Carol book or something like that, and he says something about the Dickens or something like that, and like I'm scared the Dickens out of you or something like that. Like, yeah, I mean that's the kind of stuff you're getting out of this movie, but it's a fun ride. Like, like I said, I think this is like a great double feature with Jack Frost.
Yeah, and there's I think football team too called the Golden Showers.
There is.
Hell's Township is where they live. It's like all this weird shit.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense, right? They're in Pennsylvania, and it's about where Satan's children essentially made the deal, so they called the town Hell. So it kind of makes, and that is a real town, right?
So really, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. They love to sell those shot glasses with that say hell on it.
I've been in hell or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then Goldberg just goes to the airport and takes off. That's the end of Goldberg.
Yeah, that was a weird scene too, right? He's just like in a biker's uniform, and he's just at the airport, just taking a plane like any other schmuck.
To the North Pole. Yeah. He's going back home, apparently.
He's going to Winnipeg first.
But like, why? Why is he leaving? Because I mean, his Buffalo gets blown up by the rocket. But like,
he wasn't defeated ever.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so why is he leaving? Like, I guess because Christmas is over, right? So he can only come once a year. So I guess they were setting up for a sequel that never happened. Like, but hey, let's get, let's happen 20 years later or whatever. Let's get a Santa Slade too.
Goldberg still looks great.
Yeah,
he's still kicking ass. Let's get him in there.
I'd be down for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love how they played on some of the Christmas movie tropes in the movie. Like the first scene kind of mimics, kind of comedy Christmas films, how the way the family gets together and all that stuff. And then you had kind of the Rudolph claymation to explain the backstory as to the deal, what happened between, Satan's kid, Santa, and the angel. And then I love that they're kind of counting down midnight, where he can't do anything after midnight. He's like, fucking idiots, we're in the North Pole. It's like where all the time zones converge. So I love that he's just kind of knocking out some of those, stereotypes that we've seen in movies before.
Was 2005 Pete Goldberg time, Steve?
Oh, that's past.
Past Pete Goldberg.
Oh, yeah. He like fizzled out in the 2000 probably. 90s was like that's when he was in WCW and stuff. So yeah. No, this is him looking for work.
For work.
Yeah.
Well, he did great. I mean, his look was, he looked like Santa, and it really worked. Even like, because you always think Santa would be a fat guy, but just a jacked Santa worked for him. Like, he looked really, really great. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, around the same time, he probably did like Longest Yard and Universal Soldiers 2 and stuff like that. So he was getting work. But yeah, this is definitely not Pete Goldberg.
Is he still in wrestling now?
He was up until recently. He had a title not even that long ago, like 2-3 years ago. But I think he re-retired. He went for like one last run, and he had a pretty good run at that. But now he just appears once in a while, but nothing crazy.
So according to IMDb, this movie only hit theaters in the United Arab Emirates, which is
Interesting.
random.
That
And
is
it,
random.
and it grossed grand total $6,982. So
Aw.
I'm sure that's got to be wrong, but
Well, it's probably just because it was a straight to DVD release everywhere else, right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
they don't
probably.
have the
Yeah.
numbers.
Right. I mean, it
Kinda
makes
see
sense. They have like a really big wrestling fan base over there, so I guess that makes sense.
That's actually where he wrestles. He does the they call
Really?
them crown jewel shows. So
Mm.
yeah, it's apparently the sheiks just ask like, I want this wrestler, and they're like, well, he's old, and well, I want him anyway. So all these old wrestlers keep coming back for that show.
I'm not sure if Goldberg's still married to her, but he met his wife on set, Wanda
Oh.
Ferritin.
That's right. No, it's still
Still a
still
thing?
him. Yep. Mhm.
Very nice. So hey, you know what? That's awesome.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see if
saw,
there's anything else like that's.
I saw an interview about that where he met her on on this movie.
Body count 41 on IMDb, according to
that-
IMDb.
where? Off screen?
No,
I mean, he
killed-
kills
quite-
the he
three
kills a
kids,
lot in
one
the
shot,
strip
and,
club.
like, the strip
Okay.
club, yeah, the strip club has
Yeah.
a huge.
There's a big massacre
Uh,
there. There's like at least 15 people in the strip club scene alone, and then the
Sure.
beginning there's like another 5 or 6. And
Isn't
Kills
that
like
mo-
two, 3
did
cops.
they
Yeah.
count the dog? Because he fucking pounced
No,
that
right.
They did.
dog
They
at the
did.
beginning. too.
That was the best. They did count it. They counted him as the first victim according to this trivia.
Yeah, that's more than a lot of the classics. If you think it has Jason,
41,
Freddy, or
shit.
Michael ever had that high of a count in one movie?
41 in one movie?
No,
I
I
don't,
don't think so.
I don't think
Probably.
so.
probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. They're always like in the 15s.
Right.
hmm
Yeah, but Ultimate Black the movie, like it's silly and all that stuff, but Ultimate, I think it needs more blood. Like we really didn't
yeah.
have like a standout kill. I think I forget what I don't know what it's called, but the Jewish candle holder thing to the throat, that's
yeah.
probably a little bit of the most blood we've got.
Yeah, it's a good
Fran
point. You
Drescher's
never
kill was pretty good too. I thought. with
Yeah.
the
Hers is
fire.
good. Yeah.
hers
Hers is
was
good.
great with the fire, but it is a good point. You never really see too much blood in this movie, like
Mm-mm. It's
whatsoever.
like right
for such
for
a
it.
Yeah, for such a high body count and stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very tame. Even though like the kills are gruesome, you don't see a lot of blood or even like
Yeah.
bone breaks or anything, which really would have added to the level. But like I said, I think the budget was
It
pretty
wasn't
thin
there.
on
They
this
probably
one.
paid
Yeah.
a lot of it just for
James
Goldberg.
Caan.
Yeah.
But you're also
Yes.
probably trying to get the wrestling audience, which are skew younger. So
Mhm.
if you want your movie to be more successful, I don't think they're
Put
aiming
dick
for like
jokes
a
in
hard
it.
R.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
And strip clubs.
Yeah,
There's
so-
a lot of boobies in this, so I
There's
don't
a
think
ton
the
of
younger
boobies.
audience is allowed for this one.
I compare this one with Uncle Sam too. It's like very
Yeah.
similar. Uncle Sam's got the better kills by far, but it's got like the
Definitely.
very same vibe.
Yeah, I would watch this over Uncle Sam though.
I'd
I
reverse it. I would reverse it. I think.
You'd rather watch Uncle
For-
Sam?
yeah, for the kills.
Okay.
Yeah,
Even
see,
though
this,
I mean they're nothing like write home about or anything, but
No.
this one's 13 plus, so I think that's what they were aiming for, is the teen
Oh.
Okay.
audience.
Well,
well,
I think
definitely not
the-
PG though, because there's like 6
the
pairs of boobs.
Yeah. Well, the 13-year-olds do love their boobies, so I
They
guess
do.
works.
They
Yeah,
do.
boobies, dick jokes, and hilarious kills.
That
You
is
know
true,
what?
yeah, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang.
this is a great film movie to watch with like a group too, like in a group setting with a bunch of friends, like
Mhm.
midnight movie, perfect like midnight movie style. So yeah, I'm surprised they don't play it like around this time, like in theaters. I haven't really ever seen it like released. Like they, you always see like Krampus and Silent Night, Deadly Night, Black Christmas, stuff like that, but you never really see this one getting any sort of love.
That's why I was promoting it. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at like our Discord, everyone that saw it loved it. So
Mhm.
it's just one of those movies that I think's underrated, and it might be because it was a straight to DVD release, and it's not on Tubi in the US for whatever weird reason. I'm not sure what that's about, but if it was, I think it would be a movie that people would check out more. Availability, I think, is his biggest issue.
No.
I've never seen on TV or anything. It's just like one of those that should be.
Yeah. I really wish we could get this. So this is the director's only movie we found out, and I would love to get the director on our podcast too. I actually did message him on Twitter, so we'll see if I ever get a response. I doubt it, but because he hasn't like updated his Twitter in like 3 or 4 months, but maybe I would love to get some answers about this movie. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that we could discuss with him. So maybe one day, maybe, I don't even care if he messaged me in like 4 months and we do it like in the middle of the summer.
We're bringing him
I'll get
on.
that. Yeah, right. Just because like I just want to know like the whole backstory of this movie, and I got to find out how they got James Caan involved in this, and I want to know if they had an idea for a sequel and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool interview.
Yeah, I mean, one and done too. He only did this one movie and never saw and didn't. Interesting. You don't see that too often with filmmakers. So maybe he just wasn't a director, and they just kind of like it seemed like he was just kind of like there, and they were just like, hey, you want to direct this? And he's like, okay. Yeah. Like Goldberg steer the ship, pretty much. That's what this movie pretty much was. So.
All right, rate it.
Sure. Yeah. I'll start us off. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a fun movie. Is it anything fantastic? No. It's a good time, watch around Christmas time. Will I watch it every single Christmas? Probably not. But, maybe once every few Christmases, I would throw it on to have a good time. And like I said, I mean, it's a great one to watch, with friends. Like if, you're having a Christmas party, it'd be a great background movie to throw on or something like that. And, yeah, so fun time, definitely has its issues though. I just wish there was a little more to the story and the ending, but every time Goldberg's on screen, it's awesome. So I'm going to give it a 6.
100% with you. 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5. Is it technically a great movie? No, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's Goldberg's awesome. It's got, man, now that you mention it, Steve, it's got everything a young man or girl would love to see. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's a shame that it's not more widely available. It's like ripe for like something.
Yeah, I even have like a print of it on my wall because there's not a lot of Santa Sleigh merch out there. So yeah, I mean I love it. It's surprising like the amount of star power that you look at, not just in the first scene, but Goldberg. I mean, Douglas Smith was on Big Love for like ever, and Emily DeRavin was on Lost for the whole run of the series. So it's crazy that they found these people before they got really famous, and now you look at it, it's like, wow, this is a lot of star power for this little movie. And I just, like Joe said, I don't watch it every year, but it's one I like to watch every like 3 years. And I enjoyed the hell of it. So I'm going to get a little bit of a higher score. I give it a 7 out of 10. Now, I'm not like comparing it to other big movies that are, these big classics or anything. It's one that you have to go into knowing what you want. It's just a fun movie. I think it's one I'd like to have drinks with friends and watch over Christmas time. So highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think now if I ever had a chance to like see Goldberg at a con, I'd probably have him sign like a Santa Sleigh print.
Oh yeah,
that was my question. If you guys would get 8x10,
I have my 8x10. I just need to get Goldberg somewhere. that would definitely be an awesome autograph to.
Yeah.
Can you put that ho 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 on that?
Yeah.
All right,
Move,
cool. Fun,
bitch,
fun
get
movie.
out the way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm glad we finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad I finally watched it. I was talking with my buddy, and he was like, "I can't believe you haven't seen this yet." I'm like, "No." I was like, "So, tick it off the box."
Yeah, that was a big thing in our Discord when they found out that you guys haven't seen it. They're like, really? They haven't seen this? That's crazy. It's like surprising.
Yeah. Well,
they're
I'm
gonna
glad.
be
Yeah.
even more surprised when I haven't ever seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, except for that one famous YouTube clip of Garbage Day.
Garbage Day.
He shoots the cop or whoever it is. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I have the fucking special edition Blu-ray. It's like still shrink wrapped and everything.
They even made his figure, like NECA.
I have that too.
Do you have the part 2
I
figure?
just never watched the whole fucking movie.
That's awesome. Well, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because next week we are going to be reviewing it, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, as we continue our month of Christmas in horror. Don't forget, follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And of course, the best way is our Discord. Just send us a private message and we will get you that link to our very special Discord. Great community over there. You can also send us an email, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. We also got merch if you want to a fellow fan, maybe some Horror Squad Christmas gifts, Hanukkah gifts, or something like that. You can do that. TeePublic, the Horror Squad Podcast. And that is it. So we will see you guys next week for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.